again, everybody, and welcome to another edition of Brown's Latest. I'm Dave Grendzynski, and this is where we get you caught up in some of the latest news and tidbits that are tied to our favorite team in the NFL, the Cleveland Browns. Thank you to everybody who has liked our previous episodes. I'm hoping this one makes the list. Thank you to everyone who has subscribed to the channel as we inch ever so close to 10,000 subscribers. We will change the fit for just one day. I know how everybody loves to see me in the orange quarter zip, and so we wear it every day. But whenever we cross a threshold on subscribers, we change it up for just one day. We'll do it when we get to 10,000. Also, everybody who has become members of the Browns' latest dog pound, I thank you very much. And those of you who get your comments down there in the viewer comments section. Yesterday was great. There was even a whole discussion about challenge plays and penalties and things. Like, it's fair game in the viewer comments, and you just never know what you're going to come across. But it's good, clean fun. Now, on to today's show. Here, I'm bringing you today even more proof that this game with the Patriots is going to be won or lost through the air. Also, I have some good news and I have some bad news concerning our playoff chances. I've also been scouring the league, and I have found 5 or 6 wide receivers that I think we should make a play for right now. And in the viewer comments, why Shedeur Sanders isn't getting the same QB2 treatment that Dillon Gabriel received. What's up with that? We got to find out. Viewer comments. But first things first, we got to spin it to win it. I thought of that like right before the show, and I wish I would have put that in the graphic, but I went with got to pass to win. But got to spin it to win it this week, folks. The other thing is you got to stop the spinning from them to win it. So there's a lot of spinning and winning that's got to happen on Sunday for us to win. That almost looked like the guy, the dance. Remember Wedding Singer when Adam Sandler towards the end when the douchebag boyfriend punches him in the face and then does the dance? I almost look like that guy. I really don't like that guy. But I digress. But this game, folks, is really, to me, every indication is it's going to come down to how good we can throw it and how well we can defend their pass. You know, we've never won at Gillette Stadium. The Patriots are 8-5 against us in New England. At the old place, they were 3-5. Foxborough Stadium. And they are undefeated against us in Gillette Stadium. And remember that one game when it was like a monsoon and we tried to throw the ball like 100 times? Was Stefanski calling plays then too? It sure seems like it. But take a look at this. Here, I brought pictures. And they do come from the land of small fonts. Don't they always? But let's start like the total defense. I mean, they give up yards, folks. 312. They're 10th. They're still top 10. So, let's not get too excited. There you see the rush defense, 2-4. We showed you that the other day. Pass defense, though, look at that. 24th, 235 yards, and we only give up 173. We're third. We're better at that than you guys. That's gonna be the difference, folks. 100%. I don't see it any other way. Points allowed, about even. Time of possession, even. Sacks allowed, 22-19. 22 good guys. But they only lost 77 yards. But we have sack problems. We give up a lot of yards. Because we play action and drop back 10 yards behind the line of scrimmage, and then we get sacked. That is the difference. And that is why we shouldn't be doing that. Especially, I bet a lot of those yards came when Flacco was still here. I guarantee that. I have to look that up. The other problem is total touchdowns scored. They have 22, we only have 12. We can't score points yet. We got to score. We're going to have to score some points against them. Penalties, I mean, they have more penalties for more yards. And then punts we don't care about. But turnover differential we do, and they're +2. We're even. They're 12. We're tied for 14, so we're right about the same spot there. Now, the other couple of things to think about here is this. The rush offense and the rush defense. Didn't have them on the graphic, but I will tell you that they are 21st at 103 yards per game. We are 28th, only running the ball 92 yards a game. So neither team runs the ball very well, but both teams have elite rush defenses. So I don't see it's going to be so hard to run the ball this week for either team. And we are better at defending the pass than they are. So you tell me what's the difference in this ball game. They throw for 240 yards a game, folks. Their pass offense, that's 8th. So we're 30th at 178 yards, as we only throw 5-yard passes. They average 25 points a game. We average 16. That's another problem. We're going to have to generate some kind of offense to win this game. It is a winnable game because of the defense, but we're not going to do it. It's going to be the same old story if we can't get the offense to generate some points. And I feel like they're going to have, it is like a must. This is not even I wonder if that might happen type thing. I think it's got to happen through the air. If you're going to move the ball on them, it's got to happen through the air. So the other thing is this. If New England needed motivation for this game, which they don't. I mean, Vrabel coached with us, so you know he wants to take everything he learned from us last year when he was in our building, and we could have made him our head coach when he learned everything and took it with him to New England. You know he wants to use it against us. Now, the other thing that will be motivating the New England Patriots are the playoff chances. Now, remember I said off the top, I have good news about our playoff chances and some bad news. Let's go with the good news first, okay? And this is from the Athletics Playoff Predictor. And look, there we are at the bottom. Our percent to make the playoffs have increased to 5%. Let's go. Let's go. We're up to 5%. And if we win this week, they're probably going to go up to at least 10%, maybe even more. Now, I want you to turn your sights up to the top of this list, to the AFC East, and you'll see the Patriots there with a 92% chance to make the playoffs. That is the second highest odds to make the playoffs. But here's where the motivation for the Patriots come. Well, for the Browns too, because I feel like, you can't lose this game because your grip on the playoffs it's gonna start slipping. Either one of these teams lose, because listen to this. Even though the Patriots right now sit at a 92%, if you go into this is a neat tool. It's the Football Sensei Simulator, and you go in there and you can put in different things and find out what kind of chance your team has to make the playoffs. So they got the Patriots at 86%, so not as high as the Athletic, but if the Patriots win, they say their odds will increase to 90%, so closer to what the Athletic has. But listen to this: when we beat the Patriots, their odds will drop 12.5% to 74.1%. So that's a possible 16.5% swing. They are calling this the most impactful game on the playoff scenario this week. Week 7. I mean, think about it, folks. We're almost to the halfway point of the season. So to sit there and say, hey, you're talking about playoff implications already? Yeah, we're talking about playoff implications already because time is running out. I mean, your fantasy season, you only got 5 more weeks and you're going to be in the playoffs. Playoffs? Yes, the playoffs. So, this is a big game for them, folks. And it's a huge game for us. And it's a winnable game for us. We can win this. And so, but again, gonna have to throw the ball. Get Uncle Rico out there. Ball's still not working. We're gonna have to throw it. So, when you throw it to wide receivers. And we need help at wide receiver. Because our wide receiver 1 is not playing like a wide receiver 1, Jerry Jeudy. And then we got a bunch of guys who are just kind of there. Stefanski doesn't use them. We can't get them. They can't get open. It's a whole mess. It's shambles is what it is. We're in shambles at the wide receiver position. So you know what? We need to get some help. And there are two guys at the top of this list that I'm like, I would love to. I polled some of the biggest Browns fans that I know, Minnesota Nate, Soda Pop Dave, and the greatest talent evaluator who has, you guys know him, Thrasso Vulu, on this as well. And here's what we came up with. And the first two were automatic on my list. I think we got to make a play for either Garrett Wilson or Chris Olave. Wilson, he's been with the Jets. The Jets extended him through 2030. I mean, he remains a long shot because of the money, the contract, this and that. But can we work it out somehow? Can we figure it out? Or how about Olave? How nice would he look in brown and orange? Not only because of his familiarity with Ohio, but it's a long-term potential. We could lock him up. Let's get him in here. And then in the draft in April, we take Carnell Tate. Woo! How about that? Wilson and Tate or Olave and Tate. Would you sign up for that? Because I would. In a million years. Oh my God. A million times I would sign up for that. Give me that all day. How about, we just saw him the other day, Jalen Waddle. I mean, everybody said this guy's a number one wide receiver, but they went out and got Tyreek Hill, so he's kind of had to run second fiddle. And every time he gets his chance to be the man, he's the man. Multiple outlets saying that he's among the top 25 possible NFL trade candidates, and why not? Miami is a complete mess. You know they're going to start selling some folks. And if we get Waddle in here, get his contract situation figured out, that'd be nice. Jacoby Myers is another guy. Boy, he flies under the radar because he plays in Las Vegas, and they never have a quarterback. Remember, it was Oakland first and then Las Vegas. But he's a really good receiver. And if you have him in fantasy, you would know that. I do take him in fantasy because he's just one of those under-the-radar guys that nobody ever talks about. But man, oh man, if he had a quarterback, he would be right up there in the conversations with, name them, Drake London, name the top receivers, CD, all those guys. If he had ever had a good quarterback. And then here's a couple of flyers. I don't like A.J. Brown as maybe Ridley. I don't like Ridley because he's older, but you could probably get Ridley super cheap because he just pulled a hammy and Tennessee's a mess. So, but A.J. Brown, I don't know. Kind of a diva, and but I think Philadelphia, you can already see it. They're riding the ship. I think all that whole situation's going to calm down, and Philly's going to be Philly. That's how the good teams do it. There's always, we talked about it. The first 4 weeks of the NFL season are always crazy. It's bananas, and then things settle down, and everybody at the end of the year, it's Kansas City and Philadelphia and Pittsburgh, and all the same teams. Buffalo will be there, like all of it. So. But those are like, gosh, man, Garrett Wilson or Chris Olave in a Browns uniform. And then we get Carnell Tate next year. And then we get Jeremiah Smith the year after that. Oh, that's what I'm talking about. Be a nice way to go. I can tell you that. Now, one thing that will never be traded, the viewer comments. And we will start with Dudley OG. Dudley, original gangster or just Og? I don't know. But Dudley says, if the Browns have determined that Dillon is a backup at best, then it's time to put in Shedeur. What are we evaluating at this point? Shedeur could turbocharge this offense. And this offense definitely needs some kind of charge, turbo or otherwise. And in my opinion, there are ways we can use him. I just don't understand that. We're going to talk a little bit more about Shedeur in preparation and why he's not getting the same treatment as Dillon Gabriel when Gabriel was quarterback too. Because I think if he's your backup quarterback, he should be in there getting some reps with the first team. And I think you should be developing packages for him because if Gabriel goes down, like you're going to send him out there with no QB1 reps. More on that in a minute. Great take, Dudley OG. You got this whole thing started, Dudley. Let me just tell you. This is a password, not a YouTube handle. User-GO5IC6CT7G. 7G. Woo! 5 IC 6 ct 7 g. Woo! 5 IC 6 ct 7 g. 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 password says, well, they just announced that he's not taking first team reps, so I wonder if we're just being cautious with him starting. No, I think we have a coach that has no idea what the hell he's doing. It did come out. Stefanski was asked, if he's getting the same kind of reps with the first team like Dillon did when Joe Flacco was the starter, and he's not. Because Stefanski said, well, he's getting reps, but in a bunch of periods, even though it's not with the first team. He says it's different. You want to make sure, with Dillon starting, you want to make sure he gets a lot of the reps. It's different when you have Joe, the veteran. There is definitely a riff here. Something is going on. The more I look at this, the more I think Barry wanted Shedeur. I think Haslam wanted Shedeur, and Stefanski doesn't want Shedeur. How could you do that? Every football team, and you could hammer me in the comments if I'm wrong about this, but every football team that I've been on, you always get your backup some reps with the first team as you're heading into a game because there is always the chance the backup's going to need to play. And so how much sense does that make? That when Gabriel was the backup quarterback, I get it. Flacco's a veteran, and maybe and he's getting. But why not? If you're trying to develop both guys, how are you developing Shedeur by not allowing him any first team reps? That just doesn't add up. I got a problem with that. I got a problem with that in a big, big way. Like, what are we doing, man? We've got to get Stefanski out of here. This game on Sunday, I hope it's the final straw. I really do. Because again, they got to go out there and score 20 points. This isn't just score 20 points once every 25 games. This is score 20 points. This is the NFL. This offense, unbelievable. How do you not give your backup run with your starters in case he has to come in? It makes absolutely no sense to me. We'll go with now. Next is Grandy T Channel G 6389. I like it. It's long. Grandy T Channel G 6389, who says Dillon is looking at his first read and then he's checking down. He sucks. He's a basic average backup. Grandy T, you actually sparked a graphic with your comment because our illustrious head coach, Kevin Stefanski, was asked if it's possible for a young quarterback to be too cautious. Gabriel hasn't thrown a pick, although he leads the league in almost picks, somewhere around 6 or 8 in my book, almost pick. I mean, and when I say almost, I don't mean like tipping off the fingertips of an outstretched defensive back. I'm talking about like right in the mitts and dropped. Like that's how many of these. It must be the left-handed spin that these cornerbacks aren't used to, and they're dropping it. Our wide receiver, everybody's wondering about that too, if that's a thing. But Gabriel ranks last in yards per attempt, 5 yards. Yards per drop back, 4.22, and air yards per attempt, 5.6. He averages 5 yards a pass, basically, or less. 5 yards a pass or less. And the graphic that I spoke of is this quote from our illustrious head coach, Kevin Stefanski, who says, we've talked about it over the years. You want to be smart and aggressive. You don't want to just be conservative for the sake of being conservative. So it's a balance there. And we coach our quarterbacks to be aggressive when the time calls for it. Let it rip. And then also understanding that taking care of the ball is a big part of our job. Both sides of the mouth. He's talking out of both sides of his mouth. We want you to be cautious, don't get me wrong, but we want you to let it rip. Be cautious, but let it rip. This is where I think the problem lies with Kevin Stefanski and these quarterbacks. And I think you saw it with Joe Flacco. He ruins the confidence of the quarterbacks that he's coaching because they don't know what to do. They don't know what to think. They're not sure when they're out there. And they're thinking, not doing. We've talked about this on the show before. When I coach the kids, I tell them, don't think, just do. Don't think, just do. But our quarterbacks, and this is why there's part of me, Watson's never playing for us again. But he may have fallen victim to this too, for all we know. Where Stefanski they just clouds your head. You know how you just know how it is. You don't know what to do. You're like, you get out and you're like, oh, I want to let it. Oh, but coach said be cautious and don't throw it. Like, I'm telling you, man, that is what I 100% believe that's what's going on with Flacco. Because when he was here in 2023 for those 5 games, he was slinging it all over the yard. And now this year, all of a sudden, it looked like it was like his arms were tied to his side because he couldn't throw. Don't throw the ball. We can't afford any interceptions. That's what it looked like to me, man. You took a gunslinger and took the gun out of his hand. And now he's got to try and figure out how to push the ball down the field. I think that's what's going on here. But I will say this. Gabriel is I'm sorry, undersized, left-handed. I'm sticking to that. No. We need a franchise quarterback, and we have one who doesn't get any first-team reps at practice in the building right now. And we will end with VI, born and bred. Love it. VI, what is that, Virgin Islands? What does VI stand for? VI, Virgin Islands, born and bred? Could be. VI, born and bred, says, dude, quit reaching. DG is mid at the least. Now, before I would have thought he was talking about me, because that could honestly be true. But the DG he's referring to in his comment is Dillon Gabriel. Dillon Gabriel is mid at the least. Not going to be elite, not going to be great, just mid. I've been saying that for pretty much since the draft. You're not going to find anybody to say that was a great pick in the 3rd round. Never, ever, ever is anybody ever going to say that was a great pick in the 3rd round. Now, here's what I think. Because we were talking about, we're comparing the Tom Brady stats in his first 3 or 4 games. We showed you those. Only because they're eerily similar. Gabriel's stats and Tom Brady's stats. And I didn't start this. CBS started it because they put out that first graphic, and so I just dug into it a little bit more. But here's what I would say. Shedeur Sanders would be putting up the same or even better stats than Gabriel is right now if he got the same kid glove treatment in his first 3 starts. That's what I'm saying. Actually, I think they'd be better because he could throw the ball down the field. And I think part of that is maybe this is part of the reason. Like Stefanski is so stubborn that he wants a guy who's just going to do what he says. He's got that ego, just won't let a guy do his thing. Like Jim McMahon. I was talking to Soda Pop Dave the other day, and he brought up Jim McMahon. And Ditka's yelling at him. He threw a touchdown, and Ditka's yelling at him because he didn't run the play the right way. He's like, what do you want? I threw a touchdown. He's like, what are you talking about? But Ditka was so hell-bent on doing it his way. McMahon was, going off script, and, he got yelled at, even though it resulted in a touchdown. And I wonder, man, you can't help but think that this is what's going on. It's annoying. Just win games. Get on the same page already, people. Let's go. Come on, because you're going to have to do it this week if you're going to beat New England in New England, where we've never won, in a stadium where we've never won. 0-5 are we at Gillette Stadium. So we got to get it together, and we got to get it together quickly before Sunday afternoon. All right, that's going to do it for today's show. Thank you so much for joining us. Go Browns! We'll see you next time.